So one of the questions that I get most often is, hey Brandon, how much money can I expect to make as a freight broker? What is realistic? A guy like me, regular person, starting my own freight broker business, what should I anticipate that I would make on an annual basis? Can you give me some idea of that? Now, of course, I understand that question. That's a good question, but it means different things for different people. What I make in a freight broker business is based off of what I'm willing to put into the business. And of course, what you make will be based off of those same conditions. What you're really willing to put in, what you're willing to sacrifice. And the bigger your sacrifice, I believe, based off of my experience, the more money you earn. Now, with that said, I do want to give you an answer to your question. I want to give you some idea of what a regular person from a regular background with access to the same resources that you probably have access to, starting off with the basics in a work from home business, what you can expect to make, I'll give you that based on my experience. From 2015 up until this point, 2022 in my business, I am going to break it down and share it with you. What was going on at different times. In year one, we're going to show you what was happening in year one and how much money we made. That way you can see the impact of different things that we did in the business and how it had an impact on our overall revenue. Now we're going to do that for you inside of a 7-video series to cover the 7 years. Each video will detail what was happening within that year and how much money we were able to make. So here is video number 1. So there are some different reasons that people come into business, but I think the bottom line is when it really gets down to it, most of us come into business to make money, right? We come into business, if we've had a job previously, we want this business to be able to replace the income that we had on the job. So now we're no longer dependent on the job. We depend solely on our business to provide the income so that we can continue to live the lives that we want to live and take care of our families. So the idea is to make money. But what can you expect realistically? Because you can see some really wild numbers out there as to what business owners make. So I want to give you a realistic picture of what you can do, how much money you can make over time, because that's the important thing to understand about a freight broker business is that it's not necessarily what you can do in the first year, but it's what you can do the second year, the third year, the fourth year, on into the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh year. Because we don't want to just have a one-hit wonder. We don't want to just be in business for a short period of time. Lots of businesses fail before they reach the 10-year mark. When you really start to think about it, that's when a business really starts to kick in. The profits really start to kick in and you start to reap the benefits of being in business. So we don't want to be out of business in 10 years. We want our business to be constantly growing over time and understanding that there'll be time periods where things might take a setback. That's just how that goes. But we set back always to try and move forward. All right, so year one of my freight broker business was probably the roughest time that I've ever been through in my business. That was a really tough and dark time in my life, in my business, because when you're starting a new business, you just don't know what's going to happen. You have all of this anticipation. You think that things are going to go well in your mind. At least you hope for that, but you really don't know, especially when you're starting a new venture. And when I jumped out there in this freight brokerage in 2015, I had a lot of hope, a lot of aspiration, but then it was time to start the business. And when the business started, reality set in. And it was like, man, this is gonna be tough. So that first year was really, really tough, trying to find my way. I didn't know anything. And that's the thing with a business is that when you don't know anything, then you're not gonna make money. Knowledge is what helps you to make money. Without knowledge, then you can't produce income. So the more knowledge you have, the more income you'll produce. In the first year, you don't have a whole lot of knowledge, so you're not gonna produce a whole lot of income, which leads me to my point. My first year in business was the least productive year that I had as far as money is concerned, but it was very productive as far as what I learned. Because although it was least productive in monetary sense, it laid the foundation for me to be able to make money. And that's what I want you to understand, is that first year is critical for you to build that foundation. Get the knowledge that you need to be able to do your craft at the highest level, to move loads and make money. My first year in the business, I made $59,000. Now, I started in March of 2015, and I didn't move my first load until like 60 days. I think it was like April, May, when we moved our first load. So from May to December, we made a total of $59,000. Now, what we knew then is that, hey, okay, to you, you might say that's not a whole lot of money, but if you didn't make any money in a business, an online business, a work from home business the previous year, and now you have $59,000 of total income. Now, of course, all of that doesn't go into your pocket, but you got $59,000 that you've produced from your own hands, from your own effort, then you know you have something. So that first year gave us the thought in our mind that, whoa, we have something here, and now we can build on that. So year one was just about figuring things out. Getting a customer base, learning how to service those customers. And once we figured that out, then we figured, hey man, we got some confidence now. We can move on into year two, knowing that we've learned some things, and we can take that learning experience into year two, feeling a little bit better than we felt in year one. Because year one, man, it was fearful. You know, you was really afraid of what you were getting yourself into because you just didn't know how things were gonna go. But now stepping into year two, you've kind of seen the landscape. The picture is relatively not clear, but you can see a little bit better than you could. And going into year two, you feel a little bit more confident. So now year one offers some serious adversity, so much so that I really didn't give thought to quitting, but I thought in my mind, man, what if this doesn't work? Because when you're faced with those kind of challenges day in and day out, you can start even thinking about quitting. That's not something that's far-fetched when it feels like everything is caving in on you. So when that time comes, you have to be able to go to something in your mind that's bigger than you. You have to be able to go into a reason why it is you want this business to work. You just can't just say, because I want to make money. It has to be bigger than that. Why do you want this business to work? Maybe you've said, hey, I've promised my family that I was going to be able to build a business and sustain our family based on the business. Maybe it's something like that, but it has to be bigger than you, because you definitely will come probably in that first year, in a time in your business where you question, where you wonder, man, is this really going to work? And you need to be able to answer that in your own mind before it goes too far, before you start letting it get a seed planted in your mind that it's not going to work. So if I had to give credit to my biggest takeaway in year number one, it would have to be to the fact that the most important piece to the puzzle, the most important player in the game, is the customer. We have to pay attention to the customer, what the customer wants. We have to learn how to service that customer. We have to make sure that that customer sees value in the service that we provide. So the customer is the key to this game. You know, like in real estate, you hear location, location, location. Well, in our game, it's the customer. So in year number one, I had to say it was a great experience. It gave us something, gave us an inclination in our minds that, hey, we can do this. We made $59,000. Now we have something to build on. So what we'll do now is in video number two, and you'll be able to click on that video right here and check out how things went in year number two, what we did and how that impacted our overall revenue. Video number two is on your screen right now. Go ahead and click it now. It'll give you the details of how we were able to increase revenues from year one to year two and what we did to get it done.